Hi there, it's Peter here again, the guy who hates tomatoes but loves front-end development. Thanks for tuning in for my next live broadcast, or if you're watching the replay. Today we will talk again about Webpack 2 and which tutorials are coming up on my channel. So stay tuned for that, and I will be also answering any of your Webpack 2 questions. Okay, so if you worked with Webpack, if you tried to configure it on your own project but you couldn't figure it out, then I'm happy to help as much as I can. Okay, I can see I've got some bad connection, so maybe it will start and stop, but hopefully we had the same issue last time and then it actually went quite smooth at the end. Okay, I tried to restart my router, so that should help it as well. So hopefully you can hear me, you can see me. If you do, also don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And now let's get straight into it. I just want to make sure that the connection is not too bad. If you are in the house, Vladimir, thanks for tuning in. How is the connection for you? Just want to make sure that I don't start talking too much before it settles in for everyone. So can you hear me? Can you see me? Everything good? Give me a thumbs up. Write a comment. I could see the plus. Not sure if that means bad connection or good connection. So let me know. Great. Fantastic. I've got still a little notification here, bad connection. So I'm not 100% sure if it's just for me or for everyone. Everything okay for Eden? Okay, thanks for tuning in, guys. I know there's millions of other things you could be doing right now, but you're tuning into my live broadcast. Samari Ahmed, hey, welcome to the broadcast. And yeah, I can see some of you already hitting the thumbs up button, the like button. So yeah, if you also can, there should be somewhere share button. So if you could share the broadcast. Thanks, Oliver. Thanks, Alan. Good to see you both back at my live broadcast. Could you guys just share it on Twitter, Facebook, whatever the social platforms you're using? There should be some button somewhere. I forgot to do it last time. And share, I'm doing it here as well, sharing it on Twitter. Hopefully a few more guys join in, and then we'll start talking about Webpack 2 again. Post it. Then we start talking about Webpack 2 again. Hopefully you had a good week. You're working on something exciting. Let me know what you're working on, guys. I would like to really know, what are you working on? Landing pages, WordPress sites. What are you working on? What kind of projects are you guys working on? Really, really curious to know. Just to give you an update on what I'm working on. I can't tell you much about the details, but it's a one single page application, React application that helps users to compare multiple products. Okay, so you can load products, list them side by side and see which one is the best for you. And that's what I'm working on. So using React MobX and React Router for the couple routes. And really exciting project using the latest sort of front-end JavaScript frameworks. WordPress site use Bootstrap 4. Oh, great, Bootstrap 4. Is that out of beta or is that still in preview mode? Because I thought, by the way, this is nice link to the upcoming tutorial that I will start recording right after this broadcast. I will be doing how to include Webpack, how to include Bootstrap with Webpack. And so I did some research, tried to figure it out. I don't use Bootstrap myself too often, but I wanted to know how to use Bootstrap with Webpack 2. Laravel, Vue, Bulma, and Sass styles. Nice, Alan. Good to know what you guys are working on. And yeah, as I said, a lot of people were asking me how to include Bootstrap with Webpack 2. So I did some research, found the Bootstrap loader, which helps you to configure it. And I got problems with including Bootstrap in Webpack 2. Okay, so there is a Bootstrap loader, which lets you customize what you want to actually include. You know, if you just copy the CDN link to Bootstrap CSS and Bootstrap JavaScript, then you're including the whole library, which can be quite big, and you're not always using all the styles, all the JavaScript. So that Bootstrap loader lets you configure which of the CSS modules or CSS components you want to include, and also which of the JavaScript parts of the Bootstrap you want to include. So it's very handy. And while I was researching for this tutorial, what is the best way, I also came across a plugin for Webpack which helps you to purify your CSS. So any unused classes, any unused selectors will be stripped out when Webpack processes your CSS or SCSS or SAS, right? So this is called Purify Webpack. It used to be called Purify CSS Webpack plugin, but I think there's a new version, Purify CSS Webpack. Okay, so once you include that with your Webpack build and you use the extract text plugin, the final style sheet will have only the styles that are related to your HTML. So the plugin will scan all your JavaScript files, all your HTML files, and will look for all the selectors and will strip down anything in the CSS that is not used. So very handy, really. If you use the CSS Bootstrap, if you use the SAS Bootstrap and then don't use some of the selectors and use this Purify CSS Webpack plugin, the final minified CSS will be very, very tiny. Okay, so this is great. So even if you don't use the Bootstrap loader and you load the whole Bootstrap SAS, any unused CSS won't be loaded. Okay, so again, this is Sassy for grid. Fantastic. I use Sassy as well. So this is great if you want to use the Bootstrap, don't want to configure it, but don't want to load any unnecessary styles. Okay, so that is called, I've got it here in front of me, Purify CSS Webpack. Okay, very simple config. You just drop it at the bottom of the config of your Webpack config, new Purify CSS plugin, and you're good to go. Okay, you just define one of the HTML files, and I guess the plugin then scans all the CSS files loaded into that file and strips out all the unnecessary CSS. Very, very handy. And when I was playing with it, the Bootstrap first initial load was very big, and then when I run it past the Purify, it only used the CSS for the elements and attributes and classes that I've used. Okay, someone asked me whether they can use it with Angular. Yeah, I don't think why. I can't see why not. This is related to your CSS and nothing about your JavaScript. So if you create the components with inside of Angular that have some HTML as well, I'm sure this will just go through the JavaScript file and look for all the classes, IDs and HTML elements and only load the necessary CSS. But they recommend to use extract text plugin. Okay, so this is very good for the final production CSS. Okay, the other one upcoming tutorial that will go live as a next tutorial before I record the next one is how to load images with Webpack 2. I've got it already recorded, already uploaded, so I'll publish that sometimes very soon. And after this I will be starting recording Webpack and Bootstrap, so how to load the CSS, how to load the SAS version, how to modify it, how to configure it, and how to load the JS only the parts which you need. So if you only need modal, how to use it. Okay, then hot module replacement. A lot of people ask me. I covered hot module replacement for CSS. So if you're working on your application and you update your CSS, the page doesn't refresh, but your CSS is injected again in the page. So I covered that, how to use it with CSS. And then when you want to use it for JavaScript, you need to have a little configuration at the bottom of your JavaScript as well. So I think the best way would be to cover that in the next tutorial. So hot module replacement with JavaScript, and then there is also hot module replacement with React. So once you get into React, you need to know how to turn it on for React components. And so these are the 3 upcoming tutorials: Bootstrap, hot module replacement for JavaScript, and hot module replacement for React. Okay, there was a lot of people asking me whether I stopped doing deconstructions, and I use background and configs hot module replacement. Okay, so 2 things. Few people ask me about if I still do website deconstructions, and I do them, but I don't have time to actually record them, edit them, and publish them. So I will do some series, maybe 5, maybe X number of website deconstructions the same way as I'm now doing Webpack tutorials, then I'll launch another series with deconstruction. So if there is a website that you're curious about how it was created, let me know. Let me know in the comments here, or the best would be go under any of my videos and leave the comment there, hey, I would like you to have a look at site X, Y, and Z, and then I can go through it, write a list, and do them one by one. The thing I realized from last week when I did my first YouTube broadcast, live broadcast, all your comments, they disappear. So once this is uploaded as actually a YouTube video, all the comments are gone. So the best thing would be maybe hit me on Twitter, or review the replay of this broadcast and write it in the comments. Okay, so any of your chats now, they are gone for me, so I can't go back and answer your questions, yeah, unless I catch it here and write a note. I don't know. Hopefully one day YouTube will make the comments stay with the video, so anyone who's commenting during the live broadcast, I could then go and review it. And also I think it would be good for the viewers as well. Great to see some of you guys helping each other as well in the comments. As you know, Webpack is quite hard to configure and it takes a while, and YouTube comments are not the best way to paste code, especially the Webpack 2 error messages, they crazy. So yeah, definitely if you can help someone else with some issue in the comments, that's great. And I've seen some of you guys doing it, so you have virtual thumbs up from me. And by the way, if you're in the house watching this broadcast, don't forget to hit the like button under the video. That helps a lot, brings more people to the broadcast. Great job from Aksha. Thanks, Aksha. Thumbs up. Yeah, I know it's confusing. And when I looked at the Bootstrap loader and what is involved, Slack community for your fans. I'll think about it. I was thinking about it, but I've got a lot of commitments outside of the digital work. I'm also a soccer coach, and I feel like if I open a Slack channel, I'll be bombarded by requests. And anyway, I'll probably get to it because I feel like you guys could help each other as well, and it could help you connect. Someone asked, yeah, sorry guys, I missed the last two questions. So what I wanted to say, really thank you if you're helping someone else in the comments of the Webpack 2 tutorials, because I cannot help everyone. And so yeah, if you guys have some experience and maybe you solved some issue and you post your config, I'm sure it will help someone else. Okay, so this is all what I wanted to say, what I wanted to sort of give you a heads up on. What about CSS in JS or CSS modules? I haven't used CSS modules much, to be honest. At the moment on my current project, I've got a simple SAS file and just having components within that, and then loading that one file after purifying it with the exported HTML. So I'm not using CSS modules, like creating the CSS per module. I've got a simple standalone SAS folder with all my files. But I'll definitely get into CSS modules later on, because yeah, it's probably the next thing. So you have in your components, you have your HTML markup, you have your JavaScript logic, and you have also your CSS. So I think that's the future where all the front end is going. Becomes very difficult if you mix both of them. Yeah, as I said, I don't have much experience with that, so I can't comment whether it's better or not. Do you plan doing some Angular 4 tutorials from TechnoGap? Thanks for tuning in, TechnoGap. Probably not at the moment. I'm trying to focus on Webpack 2 and Webpack 2 and hey team, good to see you. I'm focusing on Webpack 2 and React, following that together with MobX or some other store management. So I'm not planning on Webpack. I'm not planning on Angular 4 at the moment, but maybe in the future, why not? Hey Dave, good to see you. Really good to see a lot of your faces. I've definitely seen your emails and Twitter, so good to see you checking in and tuning into the live broadcast. If you just joined, we were talking about the upcoming. Thank you, Tiemo from Africa. We were talking about the upcoming Webpack 2 tutorials, and they are how to load images and how to load Bootstrap, CSS Bootstrap with your Webpack 2 config, and how to set up module replacement for JavaScript and React. Okay, so that's what's coming up. I'll start recording the 2 straight after this broadcast. Hello from Ukraine. Ukraine, you must have a midnight or like a late night in Ukraine, right? Let me know when where you tuning in, guys, from. Obviously, as most of you know, I'm in Australia, in Melbourne, but I always like to know where are my fans and followers tuning in from. Mapbox, never heard about Mapbox, to be honest. 1:21 p.m. Okay, India, Kosovo. That's fantastic. Yeah, I know, Tim. It's for the Aussie best time. Argentina, 14 hours in the past. Okay, Qatar. That's fantastic. Morocco. Fantastic. Looks like we've got a whole world in one broadcast, which is fantastic. As you know, yeah, I'm in Australia, so I've got 10:30 in the morning, and I used to do it late night, or yeah, I used to do it in different times, and it suited different audience. But I realized, hey, I need to do it when it suits me. New Jersey, fantastic, Dave. So I realized rather do it, and whoever can tune in can tune in. Now when it's on YouTube, it's best because people can watch the replays. Replays, right? And someone actually watched the replay. This was funny. Someone watched the replay, and he left a comment, hey, I watched the replay, but it felt like it was live, which is really cool. So as I said, I really like this live interaction, your comments, and makes it really, really like a different experience than just me recording a video. Berlin, guten Nacht, Berlin. It must be night there, right? So yeah, as I said, I like the live interaction instead of me just sitting and recording screen. It's good to see and talk to you in this interactive way. And yeah, I really like the live broadcast. I used to do them on Periscope a while ago, but then didn't like the quality when it was uploaded to YouTube. It wasn't really good. And yeah, so this is just the proof. Can I switch the screen? I'll show you the Bootstrap demo that I'm working on. Okay, hopefully you can see that as well. So this is the setup that I'm loading a simple page which has the modal component and the CSS loading with Twitter Bootstrap. So I'm using this Bootstrap loader, and this is the upcoming tutorial. So I've got it already coded. All I have to do now is just to record it. So I've got it coded. I've got the starting files, ending files, and now I will need to massage it into something which makes sense to you and you can apply it to your own project. Okay, a lot of people actually ask me also about Webpack and Bootstrap, Webpack and WordPress, how to set up Webpack with WordPress. And I use WordPress for some of my sites. Obviously my main site, Ihatetomatoes.net, is on WordPress, but it's not a single page app, so I wouldn't try to set up Webpack. If you're using Gulp for your CSS, you can still keep using it. Where Webpack is really helpful and useful is when you're working on a single page application, when you don't want to change the URLs or refresh the page when you're going from one component to the other. So I don't really know exactly how to answer that, how to set it up for WordPress, because WordPress is PHP, and as you know, Webpack is very useful working with JavaScript. So unless you have a components of that PHP side that you want to inject in, yeah, I'll probably need to do more research how to help the WordPress guys how to set up Webpack. But for now, as you know, it's most useful if you're working with React or Angular or Vue.js. And so yeah, I don't plan to cover WordPress and Webpack anytime soon. But yeah, if there is more requests, I'll probably need to do more research, like I'm doing with this Bootstrap. Okay, working with Jekyll, you have static sites. I've heard about that as well. Webpack for hot module reload, even for my PHP files with browserify. Yeah, browserify. I've heard about browserify. You can define the proxy, and that will reload the PHP file through your mump or whatever you're running locally. So yeah, I think I've seen the PHP reloading the pages, but I think the question I was getting asked was more about how to bundle PHP files, which which I'll sort of struggle to answer. So I think people, what I want to also do is one video where I explain the Webpack and where is it most useful in like a high level way. So this is the kind of projects where Webpack is really, really useful. If you're using this and that, it's probably good to stick to Gulp or something else. So yeah, because some of the questions I'm being asked, people still not sure what is this Webpack, why is it needed. So I'll probably do like a high level Webpack 2 video, something which I did for Scroll Magic. If you remember, I did Scroll Magic, the top to bottom view where I was moving scenes on a piece of paper, and that was useful as well, just to give people idea how is the concept of the scenes and the animation, how is it working in non-code way, so visual way. So I'll probably do more visual way of how to or when to use Webpack. Webpack, browserify, from what I know, it's the similar thing. Browserify used to do the same thing, bundle things together. Okay. Yep, Webpack React, that's coming up shortly. I'm trying to wrap up the Webpack 2 series so I can start doing more React tutorials, but I've been bombarded with more Webpack questions, so I thought maybe it's better to answer them and then start recording React tutorials. Okay. But as you know, guys, always all my content is coming up from your questions. So if you have any questions, leave them under the video and I'll try to answer it in any of my live broadcast or the tutorials. Okay, I'll be wrapping it up. We are just past 21 minutes and I don't want to hold you back for too long. Some of you have a midnight, so have a good night, guten Nacht, and I probably need to learn guten Nacht and all these other things in multiple languages. I forgot how to do it in Russian. Is it necessary to use Webpack with React? Is it necessary? I don't think it's necessary. I think you can just, I don't think it's necessary, no, but it makes it very easy. Once you configure it, you just sit down, code your React components, the browser refreshes or doesn't refreshes, reloads your modules, and it's very, very handy. So I'd highly recommend using Webpack and React together. It just makes it super easy. Once you create your boilerplate, the first boilerplate, you can then apply to next project, something which you've probably done with Gulp or Grunt before. And yeah, so I definitely recommend React and Webpack together. Really good combination. Okay, guys, I will be wrapping it up. Hopefully you have an exciting week and weekend ahead, and I'll see you next week. Your channel is amazing. Thank you, Petr. Obrigado in Portuguese. Obrigado. I need to write it down. Obrigado. Good night. Take my gap. Just, I think these guys work together. Yes, they work together. React and Webpack. Alrighty, guys. Great to see you. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in my other videos. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe to the channel for designers to learn JS, React, Webpack. Which courses do I recommend? So I will have a React and sort of more advanced course a little bit later this year or in a couple months. But until then, you probably can try Wes Boss's beginners, React for beginners. If that's, I'm not sure if it's for designers, to be honest, because with JavaScript there's a lot of code, so you need to firstly get comfortable writing JavaScript and then you can start doing React. Okay, React very different thinking than jQuery, so maybe start playing with jQuery first if you're a designer, just so you know how to modify the elements on the page, and then start to learning Angular or React. But yeah, it's not very visual. That's the thing. A lot of designers have problem with that they used to from Photoshop and some visual tools suddenly code, and they need to imagine what is gonna happen when the code's compiled, what's gonna happen on the page. Okay, so that's it. Probably, yeah, I need to wrap it up. Really need to record the tutorials. I would love to hang out with you for longer, but the day is short and I only have a few hours. Okay, 30 days WebBoss free course first, then jump React, Vue.js. Yeah, the 30 days with JavaScript, WebBoss, really good introduction to JavaScript. Agree. Eden, thanks a lot. you're the man, you're the legend. Okay, don't forget to, guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the broadcast and videos on YouTube or other social media platforms. That helps me a lot. Okay, and also it brings more front-end developers like you all together, so you can then help each other. I've seen some of you commenting, and hope we can grab a beer. Who is coming? Bacado. That would be fantastic. If you're coming to Melbourne, if you are in Melbourne, definitely let me know. Hit me up on Twitter. I would love to one day maybe make a Ihatetomatoes meetup somewhere. Get a beer, get a drink, get a coffee, whatever you're drinking, and yeah, that would be fantastic. No problem, Bacado. I will be wrapping up. I know I said it 10 times before, but this is the final thing. Thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.